percentage of the L&D budget is reserved for an investment towards gamification? Because all of this is investment.
Our budget is huge.
So what percentage typically? I just want to understand the trend.
Us, 20%.
If you really force us to answer this question, somehow we would say something like 20%, but otherwise when you really plan your budget, you do not actually classify it under, okay, under gamification we are going to do this much, because if we understand the meaning of gamification, what we've been discussing for last 45-50 minutes, then it is not about spend on technology alone. It's about really changing of mindset, bringing in a lot of fun in learning, and making sure that we make it much more interface driven rather than one way. That's what would be my answer.
The reason I'm asking is that it's a decision that an L&D professional can make. But if we have to get executive sponsorship, they want to see something happen and they want to see that real quick effectiveness. And if building a course, for example, customer service, is going to cost a couple of lakhs, the sponsors, the investors are going to be wondering what it would take to build, to develop 40 such kind of games that a large organization may need. So from that angle, I wanted to understand if anybody is doing anything different to get their mind share.
Give you a response to that, and a little bit of a different standpoint than both 100%. 100% is what we allocate. Because gamification, remember, is a concept, it's a tool, it's a methodology. I mean, to drive an outcome, and technology pays for itself many, many, many times over. The businesses are investing in technology, all the products are on technology enabled. So the same concept applies, and very happy to have an offline conversation with you, tell you all my concepts and ideas if you're really genuinely in that situation. But 100% is my response to this.
Well, that would be our last question for the session. That brings us to the end of this session, but I'm sure this is a subject which is going to have a lot lasting impact in the years to come. Before we end, we'd want to felicitate our panel members. So inviting Dr. Nitin Bilwani, Dean, IFIM Business School, Bangalore, to join us on the dais, please. Could we have the mementos brought across? Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for our panel. Ms. Harilina Sodhi. Mr. Rajiv Jayaraman. Dr. Tanaya Mishra, Mr. Rituraj Sar, and Mr. Damodar Padi. I think if you could just have a last photograph before we end. So while they do this, we'll immediately break for tea, and we shall convene again at 4 o'clock. Unless you all want to continue. Welcoming you on stage, sir. Huge round of applause. Mr. Yashveer Singh, Director, Ashoka Foundation. Welcome you on stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. HR के लोग जहाँ पे इतने सारे हों और when there is a good news already revealed that this is the last session, इतना ठंडा response HR वालों से मिले, that is a little surprising. Good afternoon. Anyway, I can very well understand this is the last session, and I also believe that one of the jobs that I have is making sure that the team is updated. Of course, I also need to make sure that I also. So let's get one small quick alarm. Wake up alarm. You know, I want to do some small quizzing with you. Not too many questions, just 5 of them. Interesting one. And somebody Yes, so are you all ready for the quiz? I'm sure you have heard this. You have done shopping, you have done some purchasing, you have dealt with them all the time. And I'm sure all of us are aware of this very famous name, 3M. Anybody who wants to make a guess? No? Yes, yes, please. Jagmohan, did you reveal the answer to him? Well, you get 80% marks, not full. Okay, next question. This question is very famous because of the surprise you got yesterday. Yes, please. France. Oh, that's the right answer. So there is a tie there. So Dhananjay, please note the tie. Next one. As smooth as silk. How many people say Singapore? Who said Thai? Just raise your hand. That's the answer. Thai Airways. So Dhananjay, I'm sure you are scoring and you are noticing the people who are responding. How many people say Indian Premier League? Raise your hands. Just 2-3 of you. It is such an obvious question, my friends, isn't it? And similar, very obvious question I'm asking is, and that's the last question, most important question, full form of IBL. How did you get that answer? How did you do that? Well, Jagmohan, you have had some discussion with her. Well, lady, I think you need to be recognized. Please stand up. Please give her a big round of applause. Please give her, please, yeah, she deserves. Okay, so congratulations, that was very good. So informal and blended learning. Now let me just take you into some business, because we need to get some seriousness into our discussion, isn't it? So let's get serious about business. Did you notice some of these questions most of the times or all the times? People nominate, they don't turn up for training. Our managers nominate only those who can be spared. Many managers pull out their team members from the training program when the training program is going on. And we do a lot of training. We invest a lot of money and resources and time. We don't know whether it is being implemented. We don't know whether it is being utilized. And we don't know whether it is really making an impact. These are the popular questions we get. So if these are the popular questions, there are some answers. And I think IBL does provide those answers, because just imagine if I'm a manager is not able to participate in the 3 days or 4 days training program, which is defined well in advance, and if my manager has a need to call me back, it just means that the answer to this has to be creating those flexibilities so that I can create some other slot for learning. I could create some other medium for learning, and I could create some other avenues for me for learning so that I can learn at my own pace. I can learn at the time that I choose to. I can also adjust it based upon the business requirements and also my own personal time. And also I can leverage the technology, and I'm not, and I repeat, I'm not too dependent upon that classical traditional method of training. 3 days training program, such and such time, 9 to 5, XYZ location, because that just constrains your choice. And IBL is nothing but creating choices. Ultimately, in today's time, we are talking about choice because it's a consumer-driven economy. Therefore, even the learners also need to have those choices of learning. So that's the whole story. taking the concept further. So I'm sure all of you have seen this. I don't want to bore you with a lot of details of the conceptual framework. So you have self-learning in addition to classroom, which we all know. We have coaching, we have mentoring, we have reverse mentoring, we have technology, we have mobile learning. Just imagine I come from pharma company. So my example will be from the pharma company. Just imagine there is a specific 2 minutes video that you have provided to your marketing reps. And these sales reps sit outside the cabins of the doctor, and probably they have some bit of free time. Can you fill that time by providing some bit of learning, some bit of information, something which is useful for him, which he or she can utilize and which he or she can quickly learn and grasp? So that's a kind of technology that we are talking about, and it happens all the time. So essentially, it is about creating those platforms in which you have formal, informal, personal, organizational, technological, and otherwise all kinds of solutions, and that's what we are talking about. And which are the last 2 A's? There were 5 A's in this course. Any device? You are right. I need to make sure that all of us are awake, by the way. Now let's talk about some key statistics. Why blended learning? Why informal learning? And whether there is evidence that this really helps the organizations and whether it helps the individuals. So some bit of statistics. So based upon the research that has been done, they say that the retention rate is much higher, and also the not only in terms of the individuals but also at the team levels. That's number 1. Number 2, the learning that you absorb by the way of IBL, that is blended learning, you can acquire 5 times more input as compared to the classical method. Number 3, majority of the companies have reported that their revenues have been increasing when they switched over to the IBL, or informal and blended learning. Revenue generated per employee is more, and one classic case study which IBM did, IBM was able to save something like $200 million just by way of switching over to the informal and blended learning. Thank you for listening to these basic contextual details. By the way, this is not my last slide. कहानी अभी और भी बाकी है. And let me just talk about some reality check. Take a pause for a moment. In today's scenario, all the organizations are made up of 4 different generations. Traditionalists and baby boomers, Gen Y, Gen Z, of course, Gen X that we always keep on talking about. So these 4 generations have different styles of learning. They have different paradigms of learning. When you talk about introducing the IBL, informal or blended learning, it is a significant switch for those people who have been used to the classical methods of learning and teaching, the typical traditional classroom method of training. For them, it's a significant switch. If this switch has to happen effectively, and if it has to sustain, essentially it means that there is a little bit of an element of change management. When there is an element of change management, there is an element of leadership. How do you make sure that you are able to engage not only the Gen Y of course will get engaged very quickly with the technology, as I can see that some of you are already hooked onto your smartphones. So